Alright, hello. It's been a minute. Been a few days since the last stream, but got some very big plans in store for today. I don't know how long I'll be streaming for. Hopefully a decent time. Hopefully my usual. Hopefully. But I have some pretty big plans for this stream. First of all, I did a lot of off-camera work. A lot of off-camera, off-stream work. Got a lot of just like busy work out of the way. On top of that, I've been theorizing for today's stream what to do. On top of that, just theorizing some some future-based things I'm gonna be adding to the game. For some features, some mechanics for the future. And that entails some pretty cool stuff. I'll dive into that in a moment. But to begin, what are we doing for this stream? Well, this stream, we are doing a very basic thing. Well, maybe it's not so basic, but I will be trying to flesh out the beginning look of the third and final floor of the market sub-district. It's taken a minute to get this sub-district done, but we've gotten there pretty quickly, in a pretty well done manner, I would say. Still a lot of busy work to do, especially on that second floor, but this bottom floor is mostly done for the busy work side of things, in my opinion. There isn't a whole lot left to do on the bottom floor. And just to give you a little insight, the bottom floor is kind of looking like this at the moment. Got a lot of the walkway all texturized. Added this, finished any texturing over here. A little bit more over here. It's the same thing over here, essentially. Just finished texturing. Also added this. What is this? This is one of the hazard machines. Not hazard, sorry. Catastrophe machines. Why are these important? Well, it's actually one of the more important mechanics of the game, which I've actually dove into in decent detail before already. But why is it important to know this exists? Well, the reason it exists is because in each district of this first floor, each district will be housing a specific amount of those machines, and each one of those machines is pretty unique in terms of the amount that's being distributed, and the locations are all pretty hidden, but they are balanced and spread out where they're easy to get to for the most part and not really super hidden, like this one. And there's actually quite a few like that also over in the housing sub-district of the city district. But yeah, added this, and I did do testing. I did do some testing here with as well, which is why this looks a little bit different. I had to also change some stuff around here as well, unfortunately. But yeah, this is what the third and bottom floor is looking like. Mostly done and done. Also, I hooked up the redstone for the lamps, for the lamps streetlight system, like I did over on the housing district side. Beautiful. Got some over here that turn on. We also have some over here that turn on. Why is that important? Why? I don't think I've ever actually explained why these exist, other than, well, turning them on. These are actually one of the most unique it's a simple but very cool mechanic in the game slash feature in the game that the players will be able to interact with. And meaning there will be a way for them to turn these on during their run. It's not imperative to do it. They don't have to, but they can, and it is pretty helpful. And the reason, you might already see it now, but it really makes it easier to see things, like a lot easier. It's literally night and day difference. It's pretty awesome. And the same thing is over in the housing district. It's not as cool of an effect of that, but you get a general idea of it over here as well. You get a very similar effect for the most part. And there's lightings all over the place that get affected just the same way like that. But yeah, added that on the bottom floor. And the bottom floor is, like I said, done and done. These, I believe, we don't need anymore. Although the pawn shop, I still wanted to add. I need to add that up there. Yeah, so we got those. Redstone shop, don't need. Could do an art-based shop. Yes, I like that. I'll get in the second floor in a moment, but today on stream, like I already explained, we'll be working on the third floor. We'll be working on trying to kind of get an idea of spacing of buildings and kind of how everything's gonna flow. And just making sure I get all that lovely stuff. And all these signs are just kind of some beta, well, probably not even beta, rather alpha look into what we got going. So we probably want a pawn shop over here. Then maybe an art. Oh, I also need a library. I decided I am going to do a library. Or maybe a former bookstore. One of the two. I'm not sure which. Probably going to be more of a bookstore than a library. More than likely. But yeah, I am going to be doing one. Against what I had originally said in the, when I was first brought up that question of adding it as a suggestion. Yeah, I think a library, a bookstore would be really, really good. I think for various reasons. Pawn shop. Where to? Oh, there's pawn shop. Oh, right, art shop. Where to put an art shop? Art shop, right here. Perfect. That'll work for now. Sure. Good enough for now. We'll figure that out in the future. That's a future me problem, and your ish future me problem. Next up, while off stream, I also fleshed out quite a bit of the second floor. You can probably already kind of see some differences. For one, I went around, textured buildings, added some extra bits and bobs to some buildings, rearranged them if I needed to. Just added some details, and I did test the areas as well simultaneously. I also added 2 more of these bridges. I will admit, they are copy pasted directly from that one. I cannot lie, just like rotated. I'm not really complaining though, because like, and it's not really neat. Their purpose isn't really to, whilst their purpose is to look broken and destroyed and whatnot, the goal is not to make it where you have to do parkour, nor to make it where you can't be chased across the bridge. I actually want the players to be able to be chased across the bridge. It adds more panic, of course, and of course it also means they'll just die if they don't go through the other side, or if they can't. It just keeps it so they don't soft lock themselves, in short. So yeah, and did some more details over here a little bit. Also started adding street lights around, some of these street lamps around. Also just figured out the lighting, made some small tweaks here and there. And then lastly, the biggest thing I actually added, or rather worked on, was the brewery, the fake brewery, quote unquote, allegedly fake. I added this lovely brewery. Now, another thing I had originally was originally against the idea of was potions. Until I found out the exact mechanics behind how a lingering potion works. I know I've been playing this game for since like 2012. I have no idea what lingering potions really did in terms of their in-depth mechanics. All I knew is they left a cloud after you splashed them. I didn't know what those effects really entailed, I'm gonna be honest. However, since doing research and testing with them, I've realized they are really good for this game. For my game in particular. For one, they're potions that don't give effects for very long. 2, I can pick potions that are very hyperly specific situation-based potions instead of the typical speed, regen, or health form of health regaining. So this means I can add potions that have a short-term effect, a really strong short-term but very hyper-specific use case one for very, just depending on where you are on the map, type of use case and for what situation you may be going into. For a good example is water breathing. Water breathing is actually one of them on the chopping block, as one that is available here. If you are going to the caverns, water breathing will be, if you're going down into the caverns, water breathing will be huge because you don't have to worry about gasping for air for like half the time you're down there, whilst also being chased and whatnot by whatever baddies are trying to kill you. Oh, I gotta turn my sound back on. I forgot to turn that off. There's also night vision, fire resistance, turtle master, and slow falling. Now, another fun thing with these is the cloud. While the cloud may seem like a bad thing, I see that more of as a fun opportunity because it's not really, if you were to use it to get your effect back again, it's actually a lot less, in my opinion, than if you were to use it with a single use regular potion. For example, if you are to be being chased and your hand is forced to use it so you can get out of a sticky situation, well, you're going to use it on you, and then also whatever is chasing you is also going to run through it. And whenever a mob or you, the player, or another player were to enter and get the effect, each thing that gets an effect will reduce that cloud by half a block. So when you and the Ravager or whatever's chasing you runs through that is already a whole block of it gone. And that also reduces how long that cloud lasts on top of that, because that timer gets shortened with the radius of the block. But now what's really cool is, let's say if you are in the caverns, right? Or anywhere that has water, and you place this somewhere. If you place the water breathing in a very nice safe spot that you can get back to decently easily, and let's say you failed getting to one area, you're exploring, right? You check this one area. Okay, there's nothing there. But then you come back within the time frame that it's still there. Your potion is still lingering. Boom! You get a regen effect right before the cloud goes away, and then you can go a different direction. That could be extremely useful at any point of your game. It doesn't really matter what level of progression you're at. I'm gonna be honest, because it saves you time, but also the chance of taking damage. And also it makes it easier for, well, when you're evading anything over in those watery depths simultaneously, if you have to. Another thing is, with soul falling, it's basically a one-time use. You are not going back for it again, I'm gonna be honest. And you can't use it to Mary Poppins across the map. You can really only go about 5 to 7 blocks at most from the highest point of this game, of this floor. With speed, by the way, you can only go about 5 to 7 blocks distance-wise. Height-wise, though, you can go infinitely as long as you have the potion available, so however long the potion lasts. But you can essentially make it from the highest point in the game down to ground floor completely safe with soul falling. But the one downside of that, of course, is the lingering effect is extremely useless. Extremely. You are going to be, it is a one-time use type of situation. Now Turtle Master, I know you're questioning a lot of things why Turtle Master exists there, because Turtle Master doesn't give the player any good effects, really, except for Resistance 4. So why does it exist? Why is it an option? Because it's funny. Just imagine this. You got yourself a Turtle Master potion. You're getting chased. Bang. Oh, not that. That would be oh, that's terrible. That would suck. But no, you got your Turtle Master. Bang. On the Ravager. He's stuck there. He's stuck there for a minute. For like 40 seconds. He ain't moving. You're free to go. You're scot-free. It's wonderful times. But it's gonna be really funny when the player accidentally splashes themselves, of course. It could be really, really funny. But this one and Soul Falling are my two really concerning ones. Oh yeah, there's also Night Vision, Fire Resistance. Pretty self-explanatory why those exist. Night Vision, so you can see better. If you don't know how to do or don't want to do that light thing, or not, or if the light thing only, or if you're in a place where the light thing, the street lamp thing isn't available. So like if you're in different sub-level, like caverns, prison, whatever, night vision can be very helpful. But again, one-time use type thing. Maybe put it in a safe spot and you can loop back. Just kind of depends on how long that all will take in terms of looping and exploring and finding what you're looking for. Fire resistance is just going to be really good in very specific sub levels. In full transparency, it's not going to be super helpful, but when it does become helpful, it will save a lot of time and a lot of painstaking effort and stress off your back. But yeah. And how will this work exactly? How does one obtain these? Well, I did some research. I did some digging of what a proper brewery would look like in terms of then, like in real life, what a brewery typically entails for hosting the machinery, the processes, and whatnot. Originally, this was going to be kind of like you come in, you order a quote-unquote beverage, and then you get something, aka your potion. They don't do that. That's typically not done in a typical brewery. A typical brewery is actually just what I originally thought, which is just making alcohol. The process of making homemade alcohol, or beer, or both, right then and there. Right? that should be pretty obvious if you know anything about uh, adult beverages. But with that and saying that, I don't actually have to worry about this being a stall, like a place to really fill out a special interior, so to say. Rather, it's gonna be more like you're coming into a factory, a mini factory, where you get to you will order what you want, and you have to follow a certain process of you select which one you want, you pay for it with these ingredients that you go and find, on top of paying a price to use these machines, and then you'll get your potion. It'll be a decent process, but it will be in a manner that makes these pretty available eventually, just not readily available for every run. Of course, these will be very, you kind of have to play your cards right on when you get the stuff. And I'm not thinking it's gonna be super complicated really. I'm thinking it's just gonna be a simple, probably get a bottle of water, or maybe just a bottle, one of the two. Probably a bottle, yeah, probably a bottle of water, and then you'd have to pay in golden washers, which I'll get into in a minute what those are actually. But then also one other thing, which I still have to figure out the details on that. But yeah, down here you'll essentially just order that. You'll pay what you need to pay, and then with a 30-second to minute long cooldown timer thing, it'll spit it out to you, and bam, you got yourself a lingering potion. You got yourself a fake drink, an alleged drink. Congratulations. And you can't even drink it. But yeah. Now, what are golden washers? I think this is the first time I've really ever gone in depth with these before. So golden washers is, if you know anything about Decked Out 2, it is this game's version of Decked Out 2's crowns. Why did I choose golden washers? Because it's funny. And also it's unique. But golden washers essentially act as our secondary currency of the game. Now in Decked Out 2, and even my first Decked Out, which followed very similar pattern to Decked Out 2, that currency was pretty useless. Those crowns are useless for the most part. However, for this game, they are going to be very useful. I will wait, because it adds. I'll give it another 2.5 minutes. Should be good to go again. Give it another 30 seconds. Should be all good. Perfect. All right. So, golden washers, like I said, are essentially decked out 2's crowns. And in decked out 2, they were pretty useless. But here they are extremely useful. Well, maybe not extremely useful, but they can be extremely useful depending on what you're playing for. They will act as a primary key to unlocking and using some of these features throughout the game that correlate to the actual city, the actual builds, the actual buildings, and all the entire game, like the actual interacting with the game part aspect of it, other than, well, the player passageways, where you get to toss a key and open up doors and passageways throughout the city and other areas and other places in the game. But for golden washers, they are not only the secondary primary currency of the game as a whole, but they are also the primary currency that the city ran on. And the way this works is your goal, it's actually in your own convenience to collect and save up all of these golden washers, because maybe for a run you want to go on a spending spree and get a really big run because you gathered up runs worth of golden washers. And then you could get, let's say you're doing an extremely hard run and you're trying to break through the barrier of going from a medium runner to a hard level runner, right? Hard difficulty runner. Boom, get yourself water breathing. Boom, get yourself fire resistance. Right? There's that, and then there's some other areas as well that will grant you the use of spending that stuff. Where all that is still up in the air, but there will be some other areas. Of course, there's also dungeon cards, which comes into mega play with it, because dungeon cards will actually be a decent amount to buy. It's kind of the whole point of the, the market district, the shopping district, crazy, I know. And there's other shops as well that will require you to give payment through golden washers, and the golden washers will also, some of these shops will allow you to purchase items, like actual items, not anything that you get to really take that will improve your run directly, but not like a card, not like a cog, or an instant buff in any way to your attributes. Instead, it's more like trading items that you can collect for a specific trade value, whether it be a side quest, a task, or a form of payment to obtain another good in a form of trade. And a good example would be getting the stuff for one of these lingering potions, because like I said before, it not only costs a decent amount to buy, you're also going to have to, there's also a payment of 2 things to give them as an actual physical trade. So one of which was the bottle or bottled water, still up near what that is, probably a bottle though. And then the second thing will be an actual good that you have to go and obtain either by purchasing or finding throughout the game, throughout the map, and come back and trade it all in at once to obtain it. Otherwise, you won't get it. But yeah, that is essentially the second floor in a nutshell. There was also one more thing I actually forgot, and since we're talking about the golden washers, it actually works perfectly well right now. The recycling building. I still haven't done an interior to this. There's actually kind of a reason. The recycle build, the metal recycle building is a very special building for two reasons. One, I had already deemed it as a building that the player will be able to interact with. Interacting it with it by actually recycling metals or copper or both. Well, with that, they will get a payment for they will get payment for either a ratio of certain ones, or it's gonna be kind of like a rarity, a unique rarity situation where some of them will give you some metals will give you more than others. So like if I were to trade in a metal spring, I would get 3. But if I was to trade in an entire plate of metal, I'd get 10. I'd get 10 golden washers in return. That would be cool. And it gives them reason to use this building as well, and to actually interact with it. And of course, there's also other side quests that can go along with that as well, on top of that. Or tasks, or hidden secrets. But yeah, just another way to get golden washers, which again is a very important currency for anything in this game. To buy things in this game. Quite literally buy things. Be a customer. Go be a customer. But yeah, that is essentially everything I have done off camera since the last stream. Got the bottom floor done. We got a lot of the second floor done. Now it's time for the third floor. The third and final floor. I've been a little bit busy. Just a little bit. Not a lot. Just a little bit. But to begin, there are some new buildings on the third floor that I had decided I'm going to be adding. The first one. We need town hall. Otherwise, we don't have a proper city. We don't have a proper society. So, town hall go here. We got a lovely town hall that's going smack dab right here. Next up, we got bank. We need a form of banking, a form of archiving things. We need to holster our funds somehow. Possibly a mansion. The only reason is just because this is not the housing district doesn't mean I couldn't have like specialty housing situation for those who are really rich, those who are wealthy, or maybe it's just for whomever is mayor of said city. One of the two. Honestly, I kind of like the latter more. Now I'm thinking about saying it out loud and thinking about it. Yeah, so we probably will do a mansion over here. I think it fits. Of course, there's the pawn shop. We have an art shop of sort, which will probably be a form of like mini art gallery or something. Got a bookstore, which will be a very fun thing, fun one for sure. Then we got a copper shop, because who doesn't need to buy copper in this world? Or maybe it's gonna be more of a copper trades. But yeah, copper will be a pretty useful thing in this as well. Yeah. The other thing I need to do, actually, now I'm realizing, is add these walls here on the top floor. I actually have to go and modify the top floor. So I guess we're gonna be doing that first before we do anything else. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for blabbing gibberish for today. For now. I hope some of that made any like a sense. It is a decent amount of information to have set in, I will admit. But yeah, hopefully some of it was able to sink in. There is actually one more thing I forgot to blab about. What we had already pre-installed. This hole here will be a entrance to a subfloor, which will be locked off by a door of sorts when the game when we actually get to this point. So it won't be just an open tunnel, but it is the entrance to the Batcave, aka the prison sublevel. Yeah. Oh, that reminds me. I also have to add a form of police station, which I am calling the cleaners. I'm calling the Popo the cleaners in this game. That's already it's part of the lore now. Can't change it. I think it's a fitting name. I think it's a fitting name, considering it's steampunk and all. But yeah, cleaners. I need a cleaning station. I'm gonna have to add one of those. With the washers, it does bring up a cool idea I could do, which is buying houses, or rather renting houses. Could be a fun thing. Like renting or maybe renting an apartment. Could be cool. I don't know how that would actually work in gameplay, or why that would be a thing, but I don't know. Seems like it'd be a cool thing. Oh, I also have to figure out the staircase too. Location for staircase. Beautiful. Wonder how this looks over here. Holy cow. It's coming together. Slowly but surely. Could do a little bit interior work, I guess, on the second floor if I really wanted to do something other than just this. Then I'll perfect. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Wonderful. Although, I am considering extending this out over to here, like I have that, like I did over here. I'm tempted to do that. But at the same time, it is kind of cool how it cuts off like this. I do like that. I do like how it just kind of cuts off like that. Kind of just it breaks it up a bit, makes it a bit more distinct in a way. I like it. I think I'll keep it like this. All right, now I need some stone. Now for the town hall, I did a little bit of digging for some concept designs of some art and also like real world looks of what a town hall could look like, and I did find something I do like. And it's a pretty basic shape, but it's a shape that works really nice for two reasons. The two main reasons rather. The first main reason is it fits the building theme extremely well, which is it fits the Victorian and steampunk vibe very well. The other thing it fits well with is it's very simple. Like really simple. I kid you not. This thing is quite literally a rectangle. It is just a rectangle. Well, no, not rectangle. More like a glorified T-piece from Tetris. Don't need that. Just made into a building, of course. We're not gonna have much space for damn pink. Darn. Alright. Well, I guess the mansion should probably go over here. Right. Or over here, somewhere. Probably right here. Mansion. And then the bank would probably go over here. The bank won't be really anything special. I'm gonna be honest. Well, I mean, it's gonna be special, but it's not gonna be like incredibly glorified. If that makes sense. Yeah. So then if we push this to right here, and then, or, yeah, no, this is fine. And we get, no, maybe here? This would probably be better because it allows us to have walk space here, aka also looping space, and then also some walking space here. Yeah, no, that works great. Because then we would have the entrance right here. Do I want to go for a circular entrance, or do I go for a more edgy entrance? A curve or lined? Blocky. Look at me references again. Ah, okay. So maybe instead, because this thing needs to be okay. No, this is fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try 5, and then maybe 5 there. Yeah. And then let's move this over one more. Yep. Let's actually move this all back one then. Perfect. Yes, okay, perfect. And then we would have the entrance right here. Maybe I make these a little smaller, just a little bit. Just like a block smaller, because that allows us to open that up a little bit more. Also move these over one. Yeah, that's better. That's better scaled. And then this thing will be a very pretty tall building. I will admit, it'll be pretty tall. Yes, 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 yes. Hmm. Hmm. I think that works. I think. Yeah. So that'll be a good start for now for where that goes. I think. The mansion. The size of the mansion is gonna have to be decently sized as well. Let me just do a little search up real quick. So I could do something like this. Okay. I see. Hmm. So they do kind of all follow a similar a pattern of design, which is good. Oh. Oh wow, hold on. I might have just found one that I'm gonna try and I might reference this one. Yeah, this one seems good for what I need it for. Yeah, no, I like that. Seems solid. Okay. So that's gonna go right here. Um, do I want it back? Do I want it to have a back? Well, no, it needs a back. Rather, do I want it to have a backyard of sorts? Hmm, the real questions. The other thing is I still need to figure out a bank as well, so I need to figure out a basic look for a bank. A bank, the bank needs to have a vault, a very basic vault. Of course. One that will be locked, of course. So there's gonna be, so the bank has a vault, it has a front, it has like a reception. It's not very big in terms of yeah, overall it's not gonna be very big, especially considering the size of the city, because the city is pretty, the population is pretty small. So it doesn't exactly have to be mega size, a mega size bank. It can be a pretty alright size. So if we put the bank maybe back over here. Bank. Mansion. Cleaners station. Right. So then the bank would just go right here. 1, 2, 3. The bank goes right here. And maybe the entrance of the bank is over here. Hmm. Maybe the bank just goes right here. And then we put the mansion right here. I don't know. Cause what I do know is the mansion will be fairly sized. Honestly, no. I like the idea of this maybe being the mansion or just right here like this. Just one more block this way. How big does it make it now? Okay. All right. Hmm. The bank is still a very big issue at hand. Maybe we make this the cleaner station, right? What if that's because the cleaner station really doesn't have to be too big. That could be just the cleaner station right there. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that works. And then the maybe no, maybe we don't even put anything here. Maybe we leave this empty. Maybe we do move the cleaning station over here, go back over there, simply for space. Because I like the idea of this being blocked off by the mansion, and this being the mansion's backyard, and then this area is a dead end. Okay, I don't like that. Never mind. I don't like that at all. The Ravager has to be able to get through. I think it might be better if the Ravager can come like all the way around and chase you around, in and around. I think that'd probably be pretty alright. Then, maybe this is the bookstore. Maybe. And then the cleaner station. What if we toss? Oh wait, what if we toss the cleaner station right over here? Right? Right. So then that would mean right here, cut that off completely. This is either gonna be completely, yeah, either that's gonna be completely useless or it'll be used for something. I don't know. But it does definitely cut out some space. Some good space. Oh, hold on. What if the cleaners ranged from... Oh, the entrance to the prison should be in the back of the cleaners. Oh, duh. That makes more... Yeah, no, that makes sense. That'd make a lot more sense. And what if maybe instead of this being blocked off, what if you could get chased down here and around? Right? That'd be a fun loop. Yeah, so this goes here. Hmm. Not entirely sure. I, I'm trying to visualize the layout of this real quick. My head, just a little bit. Because it'll be a pretty basic layout, I will admit. Because I think I'm going to stick with the rectangle shape, more than likely. More than likely, I'll be sticking with the rectangle shape. So, because I'm thinking we have this side being the you enter this side, right? Yeah, you enter this, you enter right here. This would be the entrance right here. And then to the right would be some offices. You have your reception area desk right here, reception desk right here. To the right are offices. And then here would be or maybe here between the offices is a staircase that goes up. And then you have this entire second floor, which would obviously have more offices and just rooms you can go explore. But then there's also no, you'd probably want the office. No, rather you'd probably want the prison. You'd probably want jail cells down here, and then offices on the top end, and then yeah. So you'd have jail cells down here. That's what would be. That's what would be to the right. Especially since this is gonna be right here. Yeah, no, that makes sense. I have moved things around so many times. That's fine. A pawn shop. Probably go over here somewhere. Might have to cut the pawn shop. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe that's where the pawn shop goes. Hmm. Sorry for that pause. I had to blow my nose. Got a little teary-eyed from it as well. Got some water spewing out my tear sockets from blowing my nose. Oh no, blowing my nose. Yeah, no, the mansion, that is a good size for the mansion, I think. That is a solid layout for this. Maybe I want to add a little bit more dystopian up here though. I think it would probably be possible. How exactly? I'm thinking we have a 4 over here. Like it steps up on this side and kind of around, like right here. Right, and then this would go, of course, around here, and then it would meet up to here. This would go right here. Hmm. And then there's pillars maybe holding this up, like from underneath. Yeah, something kind of like this, I think would be really cool. Add a little bit of layers, add some depth. Maybe halfway through it just kind of cuts off, maybe? Don't know. Yeah, I think this is a good start though. I think... Oh, yeah, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna quickly place out where these last few shops are gonna go, because yeah, bookstore, actually no, maybe bookstore goes on, I like the idea of bookstore going up here. Yeah, bookstore go up here. Bookstore go there. Copper shop, you can go right here, sure. Art shop, you probably stay right there. No, actually no, I kind of like copper shopping up here. Art shop. Yeah. All right. I know this was a shorter stream, and for about half of it, I was basically just talking. I will admit, but I think it was very important to talk about everything that I was talking about, getting updated. 2, we actually did get some good progress in, despite what it seems. It doesn't look like much. It really doesn't. But I did get some good progress in, because I was able to flesh out the beginning stages of what this is going to look like. And this is going to take a while to actually build compared to the rest, I will be honest, because these are like sizable buildings I'm working on now. And very hyper specific. These buildings will serve very specific and very important purposes for this floor. So otherwise though, I am going to call it there. Thank you all for watching this extremely short stream. No worries, Feather. Thanks for being here. No, you're fine. It happens. It's life. But yeah. I'm tired. And I really don't want to do a lot. As much as I'm sure you guys would probably want me to do the building for these buildings on stream, I'm not gonna do that, because I'm not capable of doing that for these buildings, unfortunately. These will be very much an off-stream thing for a bit. These will be taking a lot of brain power and on and off building, not so much I can't really just put in 2 hours and be like, cool, I got progress done. Cool, building's nearly done. Not like the other buildings, unfortunately for us. So, yeah. Again, Feather, no worries. It happens. I appreciate you just for being here, and anyone else in the stream. But again, I have no idea when I'll be live next. Probably soon though, because I have some days off from work for my weekend days. Thank you. I appreciate it. And anyone else in stream, go take care of yourselves. If you need to, once stream is over. But yeah, I will see y'all later. See ya.